do?
My Hope officers, we try and engage the homeless on some kind of outreach. Try to engage them, find out what outreach services we can provide them. We don't necessarily want to force them into anything, but we want to find out. I know that shelter at first was an option, but not knowing why shelters suddenly became not a hot topic. It took us a while to find out because, like I said, we want to get trust, we have to start talking to them. And only when we find out later from a number of homeless that it actually is more violent than most. And we also understand that there's shelters not everywhere, especially if a shelter is so far away from where they at. So if they're familiar with the neighborhood, they might not want to move across town to it. We understand that, but we don't know that until we start engaging them.
Right.
Now, we offer outreach. I know a lot of people love to have housing, and I know housing is going to be somewhere down the road. Right. We understand that. But we also want to educate them on what the ordinance is. So work with us to be good neighbors, so that because we also want to respect their right as much as the right of the people that live in it.
Right.
In this situation at Poinsettia, we understand what needs to be done. I talked to an individual right there that, hey, you know what, your tent is blocking the sidewalk. You got to give him at least 3 feet. And he complied. We had that conversation another time. And it's frustrating, but I understand. I understand that sometimes it takes multiple conversation.
Right.
But,
And how are you guys trained differently? Is there some kind of specific HOPE training that's different from regular police?
Well, the main training we have is regarding mental health. We're trained to engage individuals with mental health issues. But most officers in the department also had gone through that. Now, in terms of what is different than law enforcement or than your patrol, is that patrol officers their primary duties are to handle radio calls, call for services. HOPE officers, the main duty is to go out with LASA sanitation to address the homeless.
Right.
So those are probably the main difference.
But you guys can go out without LASA too, right? It doesn't have to be with you.
So the HOPE team is a collaboration of sanitation, LASA, and us. There's the LAPD the HOPE component, but there's also the sanitation HOPE component, and there's also the LASA HOPE component. Do we have to go out with them? Not necessarily. But we tend to do it together because now we're going to an encampment. We can then, divide up. Okay, he's talking so and so. I know so and so who expressed some interest. Maybe today we can engage him, and that's when they're available. To wait for LASA to show up later, we may miss that opportunity. So we don't necessarily have to go out together, but going out together has the benefits.
And how many HOPE officers are there? Is it county or is it just the city, right? The HOPE is a city program.
This is it's the city of Los Angeles, the HOPE team. So depending on the bureau, my bureau in West Bureau, we have 10 officers because we have 5 divisions within the West Bureau.
Mm-hmm. And you guys go, I guess, is there a specific HOPE outreach, or do you guys get just assigned to maybe different sanitation cleanups? Like, are there different details that your officers do as HOPE members, or is it always a HOPE? Like if we see you guys out with sanitation, we could call that whole thing a HOPE team?
No, again, the HOPE is a collaboration or a partnership with sanitation and with the LASA. So you can see a HOPE officer working, but we may not have LASA or sanitation. So
then they would just be a police officer.
Well, we are police officers.
We
are police officers.
But you wouldn't call that a HOPE team.
But we're working under the HOPE detail, just like you have police officer working for Vice, working for narcotics. We're still police officers. We have to wear uniforms. I know sometimes uniforms come across, as representing, some type of authority. But again, we're men. We have to wear the uniform and not plain clothes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think I was just trying to clarify with whether when you go out not with LASA, you wouldn't say that you're a HOPE team at that moment, right?
No, we are.
You are, but then if LASA isn't there with you, would you still say that's a HOPE team effort? Okay.
Right. We're still going to engage the individuals there on some kind of outreach. Ask them, is there something we can help you? If they say yes, then if we can make a phone call and get a LASA employee over here, and they can make that happen, great. If not, we can also, have the individual come with us if they want to. We can take them to either a LASA outreach services, or any outreach services happen to be working in the area.
Great.
I mean, no, we don't stop. But as far as LASA, it's definitely somebody's an organization that has the most resources. And sometimes they come out with us. Sometimes they're inundated with other locations they have to address.
Do you know how much money they get a year?
No.
No, you don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not privy with that information. That's above my pay grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're
Is it
welcome.
Officer Maxwell, or sorry, Sergeant Maxwell?
That's no problem.
Yeah, great.